Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, if you're a designer, your world is changing in a really big way, or, it probably already has. We're going to break down how AI is going from this cool novelty to an actual co-pilot in your day-to-day workflow. And we're going to talk about what it really means when your most powerful tool is no longer a mouse, but just a plain old sentence.
All right, let's just pause on this for a second because this one idea, it's the key to everything. We are fundamentally shifting from a world of pixels to a world of prompts. Think about that. Your value isn't just about how good you are with a vector tool anymore. It's about how clearly you can articulate your intent. This is a massive, massive change, and it's redefining the very core of what it means to be a designer. So before we get all futuristic, let's take a step back and ground ourselves in the world we all know, or at least the one from like 5 minutes ago. For the last decade or so, a designer's entire universe has been the canvas, this big, visual, spatial playground where ideas come to life.
And yeah, this quote just hits the nail on the head. Design isn't some linear step-by-step process, right? It's messy. It's a beautiful, chaotic exploration. You're trying out layouts over here, messing with a mood board over there, testing components all at once. That's exactly why tools like Figma became king. They gave us this infinite canvas to manage all that creative chaos.
I mean, this Figma world really became the gold standard for a reason. It's all about precision, it's about collaboration and control. It's where we build our robust design systems and hand off those perfect specs to our developer friends. In this world, the designer is the architect, and that canvas, well, that's the blueprint. And then, everything changed. On April 17th, 2026, a new tool showed up that basically looked at that whole canvas-centric idea and said, what if we did it differently? It introduced a new way of working that didn't start with a blank space, but with a simple conversation. Now, this wasn't just some other AI plugin. No way. Claude Design was a whole new way of thinking. Seriously, imagine closing Figma, opening a chat window, and just talking to it. You say, hey, create a checkout flow for a modern e-commerce site. And boom, seconds later, a live, clickable prototype just appears. That's the kind of shift we're talking about. This slide just lays out the two worlds so perfectly. The entire process is flipped on its head. You're not starting with a shape anymore, you're starting with a sentence. And you're not just making a picture of a product, you're generating the actual working code for it. The promise here is just pure, unadulterated speed. A designer might have spent an entire day mocking up 3 different layout options in Figma. Now, they can generate 5 of them in 15 minutes, just like having a conversation with an AI. It's incredible. But you knew there was a but coming, right? Of course it wasn't that simple. Once that initial wow factor started to fade, designers and developers started bumping into some pretty serious problems. The magic of instant creation ran headfirst into the hard reality of building actual real-world products. And the answer to that question, very quickly, was a big, resounding not really. That amazing feeling of going from a prompt to a prototype in seconds started to give way to some very practical and, let's be honest, very frustrating challenges. And the community came up with the perfect name for this stuff, AI slop. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, even if you've never heard the term. It's the stuff that's technically correct, but it just has no soul, no personality. It's always the same purple gradient, the same friendly font, the same boring card layout you've seen a million times. It's basically the digital equivalent of elevator music. And these were the symptoms that kept popping up. You tell the AI to fix one thing, and it would totally forget a rule you gave it 5 minutes ago. Or you'd make one part better, and it would accidentally break something else entirely. And the code it generated, so often it was this fragile mess that a human developer couldn't even touch without the whole thing collapsing. So out of all that frustration, the smartest teams had this kind of aha moment. They realized this wasn't about AI replacing Figma, not at all. It was about finding a way for them to work together. And this is so, so important. This is not an either-or situation. It's not AI versus Figma. It's about building a brand new process that uses each tool for what it's best at. It's about orchestrating a workflow that truly gives you the best of both worlds. This table just breaks down the new reality perfectly. You're not just picking one tool for everything anymore. You're picking the right tool for the job. Need to spin up a quick landing page to test out an idea? Look at that first row. AI is your best friend. But if you need to build a massive, scalable design system for your company's core product, that's still Figma's house. It's all about knowing when to go for speed and when you absolutely need precision.
And if we zoom in on how a typical project looks now, you can really see this hybrid model in action. You use the AI for all that heavy lifting at the beginning. Look at that Claude column. It's synthesizing research, creating personas, generating copy. But then, when it's time for that detailed, meticulous craft, the pixel-perfect UI, the complex interactions, the final handoff, you move right back into the precision of Figma.
Okay, now this feature was a total game changer because it's a direct solution to that AI slop problem we were talking about. You can literally point Claude Design at your company's code or your Figma library, and it will learn your brand. It pulls out your colors, your fonts, your component styles, and then it applies that system to everything new it makes. Suddenly, the output isn't generic anymore, it's grounded in your actual brand identity. So this new way of working doesn't just change our process, it completely transforms what it means to be a designer. I mean, what is your job when an AI can generate a pretty good layout in 30 seconds?
Well, the AI is taking over a lot of the tedious stuff, the mechanical parts of the job. You know, the work that took up a ton of time but didn't necessarily require your deep, creative brain power, like writing out all the documentation, or summarizing hours of user interviews, or doing basic accessibility checks.
And here's the beautiful part. By automating all that grunt work, AI frees you up to double down on the things that only humans can do. Things like deep empathy for a user, making nuanced decisions based on taste, navigating tricky office politics, and holding the high-level strategic vision for a product. This is where the real value is now.
So, at the end of the day, your job title might stay the same, but your job description, it's evolving. You're becoming less of a pixel pusher and more of a creative director. Your value isn't just in what you can physically make anymore. It's in the quality of your judgment, your taste, and your strategic guidance.
So here's the best way to think about it. AI isn't a threat to your job. It's your new junior co-designer. It's incredibly fast, it's full of ideas, but it has no taste, no judgment, and no empathy. It needs a leader. It needs you. So the real question isn't if you're going to work with AI. The real question is, how are you going to lead it?